Today I have a Q&A video, and let me just pull up the questions really quickly. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in questions. I will try my best to answer all of them. Really quickly, before I start, I am actually going to do a separate video on all of my school related questions, so my high school experience, my college experience, and life after college. So look out for that. Otherwise, I've grouped the questions by topic and I've timestamped them, so feel free to skip around if there are only certain topics that you're interested in. It's just going to be me in this video, so feel free to put me on in the background. If not, grab a drink. I have some coffee here, and let's catch up. All right, the first and most important question is from my darling Viv from Viv Loves to Plan. She asks, what would you say to Shawn Mendes if he were watching right now? If you were watching right now, this is what I would say. Hi, Shawn, I love you. Will you marry me? If I were more clever, I might incorporate my favorite song from him, which is Fallen All in You, into that proposal, but for now, that's clear and to the point. How many planners are you using and what do you use them for? So right now I'm using 3 planners. I'm using my A6 rings, which is my plan ahead planner, my Erin Condren for memory keeping, and the last planner I use is my Foxy Fix A6 notebook, and that is for any journaling and writing that I have. If you could have only one planner, which would it be? Definitely my Erin Condren. I love that it's bound, and so when I finish the year I can stick it on my bookshelf. It's almost like a yearbook. I love the space and the layout, so I could both plan and memory keep in it. I would probably do a similar style to Sherry from Planning Peep, how she used to do her plan with me. She would put down all of her plans before the week starts, and then afterwards she would fill in any empty spaces with the things that happened throughout the week. If there was a Mandy sticker kit, what would be in the full boxes? Can I just say how cool it would be to create my own kit? I think that would be so awesome. So first, Shawn Mendes would definitely be one of the full boxes, obviously. I would probably put a variety of drinks on there. I love coffee, boba, and probably wine because those are my favorite drinks. What else? I would want there to be some sort of eucalyptus theme throughout. Oh, sorry. I'm obsessed with everything eucalyptus. Eucalyptus in my shower, eucalyptus essential oils in my diffuser, eucalyptus towels at the gym. It's so calming and invigorating to me, so I love eucalyptus. I would also want to have a full box that's beauty and style related because that's another one of my passions or something that I'm really interested in. Probably travel because I adore traveling. I love getting to know the world around me. I love the perspective that it brings me, and also maybe books or working out, something along those lines. So that would be my dream Mandy kit. The next topic is fitness, and the first question is, how did you get into yoga? So I don't remember the initial experience or moment where I was like, oh, I want to do yoga, but I know that around 5 years ago, I was dealing with a lot of chronic hip pain and like shin pain, and I was following a runner and she posted a set of yoga stretches that she did to help her after she ran. So I decided to do those stretches as well. And I remember finding Fight Master Yoga on YouTube and then signing up for a Hatha yoga class at the rec gym at my school because they gave discounts to students. I highly recommend Fight Master Yoga. She has fundamentally changed my practice and how I view yoga. It is as much of a spiritual practice now as it is a physical practice for me. And that leads me to the next question, which is, what is your fitness/workout routine? So right now in this current season of life, oh no, the sun is in my face. I'm so sorry. All right. Is that better? Let me fix my hair. So right now I am working out 4 to 6 times a week, and I like to do 1 day of spin. So take a spin class once a week, and then 2 to 3 yoga classes and 2 days of weight training. And of course I'll switch it up, but I find that that's a nice variety for me. It keeps things interesting. It works out all different parts of my body, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think it's a really nice comprehensive workout, whereas back in the day I used to only weight train and do cardio, or like basically weight train and run, which is probably why I had chronic hip pain and shin splints all the time. And it was just, I was in pain all the time, like walking and just sitting and lying down, like my hips would be hurting. So I'm happy to report that since I started diversifying my workouts and incorporating yoga practices, I've had virtually no pain in my hips unless they're sore, like unless I work them out for a particular reason, but not the hip pain that I used to have. Okay, the next topic is travel, and the first question is best and worst travel stories. So I have a lot of good travel stories. I mean, traveling is always such an eye-opening experience for me. It always sort of fundamentally shifts my perspectives on the world around me. I think one of my best experiences so far was actually when I was planning my Stockholm and Copenhagen trip this year. I asked on Instagram if anybody had any recommendations, and it turns out that some of you are Danish and Swedish, so you sent me these really thorough lists and advice. It was one of my best travel experiences because even though I had the freedom and flexibility to explore on my own, I still felt held. I didn't feel so alone, and that was really heartwarming for me. As for my worst travel experience, I didn't tell this story in my Copenhagen vlog or my Copenhagen plan with me. Well, let me start by saying what actually happened. If you didn't know, I went to Stockholm and Copenhagen back in May. So I was in Stockholm initially, and then I took a train to Copenhagen. So on the second day there at night is when I was going to take the train back to Stockholm. Well, I got to the train station that evening about an hour and a half before my train was scheduled to leave, and I was looking at the times on the board, and I realized that my train was not there. I had accidentally booked my train for 8 a.m. instead of 8 p.m. And so I was freaking out because my flight home was the next day out of Stockholm. I was so confused about how everything worked. I ended up asking somebody who worked there if there were any more trains to Stockholm where I could purchase tickets, and thankfully there was one more train. It was an overnight train, and I was so relieved. I'm so glad that it worked out, because if not, I don't know what I would have done. So that was probably one of my most panic-inducing travel moments. But again, it all worked out, so we're all good. I'm home. The next question is bucket list for places to travel. I have so many places on my list, but sorry about the sun. Definitely my top 2 right now are Berlin and Lisbon. So hopefully in the next 2 years I can find my way over there. Do you ever feel stressed or anxious about solo traveling? If so, what do you find helps? So like domestically, I don't really have any problems with it because I've done it so many times at this point. Internationally, and this question will segue into the next question. Let me just read out the next question really quickly, and I'm going to answer them both. Tips for solo traveling. So basically what makes me the most anxious about traveling is my safety, right? Especially as a woman, safety is priority, like my main priority when I'm traveling. So many of my tips are actually going to be based off of that. And doing these things also help reduce the stress I have around traveling alone. The first one is, this is kind of obvious. I mean, we do this anyway, but always stay vigilant. Always check your surroundings, make sure nobody is following you. I always have like a SIM card or a pocket Wi-Fi with me so that I have internet access at all times. I'll turn on location, like track my location for my loved ones so that they can see where I'm at all times. And I also make sure to make an itinerary of my rough plans for my trip and then send it to my loved ones as well so they have an idea of where I'm staying, what I'm doing, etc. And it's also really helpful to just have like a Google Doc that you save onto your phone with pertinent information like your hotel address, your hotel phone number, Airbnb, whatever, like your flight information and all of that, and have it offline so that in case you don't have internet or it's not working or something, you have all of your information. Another tip is not to geotag your location or post photos on Instagram where people can tell where you are until after you've already left the area. All right, we're gonna move again to the left because the sun is in my face. All right, the last tip I have in regards to safety is to have your passport on you at all times, and also keep your cards and cash in separate places. So I always like to have like 3 or 4 like card cash combos in different places in my bags. As for actual traveling itself, I have a couple of YouTubers who I really like to watch for travel vlogs, solo travel vlogs in particular. They are Allison Anderson and Elena Tabor. I'll have them linked in cards up above as well as down in the description bar. So that's all I have to say about solo traveling. I'm not an expert, so definitely if you have any advice or experiences, please leave them in the comments. All right, the next topic is dating, and the first question is, are you dating? I am actually not dating. I haven't since my last relationship. I am really enjoying holding my own and discovering the woman that I'm becoming on my own terms. The other reason is that I meet dating with trepidation. I'm not eager to get out there again. The idea of getting to know someone new, building that trust, learning how to communicate with them, it's all really daunting to me. I don't know that I'm ready to do that again. I'm not like completely opposed to it. I'm just not actively pursuing it, if that makes sense. The next question is, do you still keep in touch with Josh? If you know who Josh is, you've been with me since the OG days. Josh is my ex. We don't really keep in touch anymore. We only really talk about logistics, you know, the things that you have to take care of when you get out of a relationship. All right, so we have arrived at the last topic, which is books and favorites. So the first question is favorite tea. Obviously boba or bubble tea, whatever you want to call it. If I'm actually just drinking tea like at home, I'll usually go for an Earl Grey or a jasmine green tea. The next question is, what are some of your favorite book recommendations? So this year I've actually been doing a considerable amount of reading compared to how much I read in college, which was not very much at all, and high school for that matter. I used to be an avid reader when I was a kid, but you know, once you get to middle school, high school, academics and extracurriculars took over, and K-pop and K-drama, if I'm being really honest. So this year in particular, I noticed that I've been gravitating towards more coming of age books and books by authors of color, probably because I'm at that age where I am seeking identity as a woman of color. A few books that stood out to me that I would totally recommend. One is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, and this is a young adult romance novel, honestly. I am doing a gratitude reflection from Cynthia Plan's. I think the first day was, let me find it, talk about a book you enjoyed this year or something. So let me read what I wrote about Everything Everything. I loved the carefree young love. The old school I am conversations were adorable and nostalgic. I love the connection to Hawaii and ocean themes. I love the daring. It also reminded me that this is what love should be like, as oceanic as it is light, and that love is worth everything. Everything. That last line was a quote from the book. Even though I am jaded about dating and relationships, I still am a little bit of a diehard romantic, so that book was just so cute and sweet, and I really loved it. I also really loved Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. There are more storylines than just romance in that novel. In fact, it's not a romance novel. It's more of a coming-of-age novel. It reminded me of the ease of high school and the nostalgia for that ease, but it also reminded me on a deeper level that while there are certainly rights and wrongs, nothing is ever black and white. What is not yours is not yours by Helen Oyeyemi. Helen Oyeyemi is more of a almost like not whimsical, like fairy tale. I like her writing and her novels because it's really abstract, it's really meta. Another book that I would recommend is Bluets by Maggie Nelson. I love color metaphors. I love what color represents. And Bluets is a collection of prose poems by Maggie Nelson about the color blue, which is, I mean, she's an incredible writer. And the last book that I would recommend, and this is my favorite book that I've read in 2019, it's Call Me By Your Name by Andre Asiman. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name. Call Me By Your Name is a coming-of-age romance novel. It moved me in a way that I almost can't fully articulate. You know, the longing, the love, the lust, the loss, everything in it was so real, so intense. I just connected to it on a visceral level. Like what Elio was going through in that book, it was similar to what I was going through in my personal life at that time and what I'm still going through right now, which I won't get into. But if you were to ask me for one book recommendation, I would recommend to you Call Me By Your Name. Anyway, was that too much? Okay, I just have a lot of feelings, okay? The next question is, where do you get your book recommendations from? I actually get most of my book recommendations from peers. They usually post what they're reading on Instagram stories, and I'll note it if it seems interesting to me. Okay, so we're on to the last two questions, and I actually love these two questions, so I would love for you to answer them as well, because I want to know your answers. But the first one is, what is your most favorite thing that's happened this year? A few came into mind, and I actually don't know which one I want to share, but I have to mention this one because obviously the Shawn Mendes concert. He is so spectacular live. I think I should share the first one that popped into my mind immediately when I read this question, and it was definitely my time that I spent in Sweden, in Stockholm this year. So I went to Stockholm in May, and I just remember feeling so fully present, which is not the norm for me. I usually want to be somewhere else. I want to be with someone else. I sometimes even want to be someone else. I just remember thinking at so many moments when I was there, like, there is nowhere else in the world that I would rather be right now. There is no one else in the world that I would rather be with right now, and there is nothing else that I would rather be doing than this. I think John Legend actually said this on The Voice the other day. It's probably going to be an Instagram caption to one of my photos one day, but he said magic happens in full presence. To me, Stockholm was magic, and I can't deny that it was one of my favorite things that happened this year. What are your favorite things to do to feel festive/cozy? So the first thing I like to do is to switch my coffee to hot coffee. There's nothing better than I just spit. Sorry. There's nothing better than hot coffee in a cold day. There's just nothing better. I also really love to burn my chai spice candle from Basic Candle Co, which is actually burning right now, and it's one of their holiday releases. It is just such a sophisticated, spicy scent that's really enticing. There's clove, there's cinnamon, hint of sweetness from the vanilla. Just imagine like you're in a cabin and it's snowing outside. You just came back from a day of skiing and you're sitting by the fireplace with a cozy Sherpa blanket, and you have this high quality chai latte with you. That's what that candle smells like. It is divine. I love it. What is also divine that I like to use, that I just actually discovered, is the Brazilian Bum Bum Cream. Contrary to what the name suggests, it's a body lotion, so I use it all over my body, and it has this really warm, inviting scent. It smells like caramel, pistachio, vanilla. There's also this almost imperceptible, I don't know if it's like fruity or floral note that makes it intoxicating. I love the way that it lingers on my body and on my sheets when I wake up in the morning. It just smells like a caramel brulee latte from Starbucks, but in lotion form, that I can slather all over my body. And a couple more things style-wise that I like to do when it gets colder is bring out the flannels. I love flannels, even though I look like a teenage boy when I wear them, but they're so cozy and soft. All of my flannels are from Madewell. I find that they make cozy, cute flannels. And also, I love my cabin socks from Roots. It's a Canadian brand. They're just these really cozy socks that pair well with boots, and they're warm. I love the colors, and I think that's about it. I love bringing out scarves. Let me know what your favorite cozy vibes are down below. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. So that is it for my Q&A. I hope you found it interesting. I hope I didn't bore you to death. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. I hope you're enjoying Dreamsgiving so far. I will see you in the next one. Bye.